everyone, my name is Karina Hubbard and I'm going to be doing my book report presentation for Risk and Crisis Communication on the recently exhausted TV series called Sons of Anarchy. So in this video I'm going to be using the PowerPoint slides that I created as visual aids in order to demonstrate the variety of crises that the Sons of Anarchy characters experienced. I'm also going to post a video of just my PowerPoint, so if you'd like to see that, I will link it below. So let's get right into it. We're going to do a brief character introduction. There are way too many Sons of Anarchy characters to include them all, so I only included characters that I thought were either main characters or contributed to any major crises that occurred in the plot. So let's get started. We're going to start off with Jackson Teller. So Jackson Teller is the president of the Sons of Anarchy Motorcycle Club's Redwood Original Chapter based in Charming, California. Until the end of season 4, he was the vice president of the club. You're going to hear me say Sam Crow a lot in this video. That means Sons of Anarchy Motorcycle Club's Redwood Original Chapter. Next we have Tara Knowles. So Tara Knowles was a doctor at the St. Thomas Hospital in Charming, California. She was the wife of Jax Teller and the mother of Thomas Teller and Abel Teller. She's eventually killed by Jackson's mother, Gemma, because she tries to leave her husband and take their 2 boys out of Charming in order to protect them from any further violence. Next, we have Clay Morrow. So Clay is the former president of the Sons of Anarchy Motorcycle Club and is also somewhat of a vigilante, as he does everything in his power to ensure that drug dealers and rapists stay out of his town. So in the first couple seasons, he's sort of a hero, and then as the seasons progress, he turns into more of an antagonist. And Clay involves the club with a number of drug dealings with the cartel for his own protection and greed, wavering in his allegiance, and then eventually ends up being more of a fallen character. Gemma Teller Morrow is next. Gemma is the mother of Jax Teller, the wife of the previous president Clay Morrow, and the widow of John Teller. Initially depicted as a main protagonist along with Jax, both before and throughout the entire series, actions and decisions that Gemma has made end up depicting her as the primary antagonist of the whole series. And the reason that is because all of the club's problems can be traced back to Gemma. She lies frequently throughout the series, and all those lies end up coming back to haunt her and to affect the club. Next, we have Opie Winston. So Opie is another member of the MC, and his father, Piney, was a member of the club and one of the first 9. So he's one of the first guys to start the Sons of Anarchy club. He was best friends with the club's former president, Jax Teller, and in the beginning of the season, of the first season, he just finishes a 5-year prison sentence in the Chino State Penitentiary. Then we have Tig Traeger. So Alexander Tig Traeger is a member of the Sons of Anarchy Motorcycle Club as well. He's the club's most violent member. He is the current vice president and the former sergeant of arms at the club. We have Bobby Munson next. So Bobby Munson was the former vice president of the Sons of Anarchy, and he is intelligent and even-tempered, which is an uncommon trait among his club mates. But he is unafraid of using violence when it is necessary. And last but not least, we have Chibs Telford. So Philip Chibs Telford is the president of the Sons of Anarchy Motorcycle Club. He was formerly the vice president, and before that he was the sergeant at arms. So when the finale ends, he is the one that ends up with the presidency. So there are a lot of recurring themes in the crises found in the Sons of Anarchy series. So first off, a recurring theme that probably occurs for 80% of the crises that happen is drugs and alcohol abuse. I am so sorry that the letters are backwards. But drugs and alcohol abuse. There's numerous incidents that the men in the club get themselves into because they're intoxicated or they have been using drugs. Any situation which could have been prevented. So, lots of that. In addition, there is also a large number of violence and death. Once again, so sorry about the words, but the picture is really important. This is the cover photo that was featured when the final season came out, the season finale. I think it really depicts the whole theme of the Sons of Anarchy series very well. It's sort of a chaotic and gruesome experience being a motorcycle club. So I think right there you can just see the crisis that's occurring. Everybody's pushing on each other and fighting. So that. In addition, there was also tons of safety crises that occurred. This particular photo is a picture of Jax Nero and his son. Their clubhouse gets blown up with explosives from another rival gang due to a miscommunication. So there were a lot of people in that clubhouse. A lot of people could have died. That would have been a huge safety issue if someone had died. And finally, we have criminal activity. And this is a criminal record of Juice. And I did not mention him. He is a character. He's an additional character, Sons of Anarchy. He's in the MC as well. Now we're going to talk a little bit about 3 particular crises that occur within the Sons of Anarchy series. So I'm going to focus specifically on 3 separate crises. Okay, so we're going to talk about crisis number 1 first. So the first crisis that I think is really important to the plot of Sons of Anarchy is in the first season of the series. So what happens is Clay, who is the president of the Sons of Anarchy Motorcycle Club at the time, he mistakenly believes that Opie, one of the club members, rats on the club to the feds. So Opie, who is Jax's oldest and closest friend and a fellow MC member, botches a planned assassination that was a favor for the Irish IRA. And Bobby Munson, another character in the chapter, steps in to complete the task since Opie can't finish it. But their crime is witnessed by the victim's 17-year-old mistress. So the young girl who witnessed Bobby commit the murders provides ATF with sketches of Bobby and Opie, who are immediately arrested. And then Stahl sets up Opie to look like a rat, even though she knows it will endanger his life, and Tig and Clay fall for the ploy. And they believe Opie is turned informant when they find wiretaps in Opie's phone and also in his truck. And Clay orders Tig to kill Opie without telling anyone else in the club. However, Tig mistakenly kills Opie's wife while she's driving Opie's truck because it's late at night and it's too dark to see. So he mistakenly kills Donna. And Clay sets up the shooting to look like the 19ers, a rival gang of the Sons, shot Donna in order to protect members of Sam Crow. However, Deputy Hale, who is an individual on the Charming police force, feels really guilty about the situation, and he tells Jax that Stahl set up Opie. So this is a big thing because at this point, Jack subsequently realizes that Clay has organized the shooting. So in the top left picture, that's Opie and his wife, and then underneath it we see the car crash. That's Donna in the car crash. And then over at the top, it's Opie and Donna again in love. And then finally at the bottom, we have Clay and Tig, who are plotting the death of Opie. So as a result of this crisis, Opie is extremely distraught over his wife's death, and he slowly begins to distance himself from the club. He eventually gives up on everything he has left in order to stay loyal to his club. Jax, on the other hand, knows it was Clay who killed Donna, which is a crucial turning point in Season 1. And Jax finally understands that he can never again trust Clay, which is going to have an impact on the future seasons. So that's a crucial point. Talk about crisis number 2. So the next most important crisis that happens in the Sons of Anarchy that causes a huge amount of trouble for the chapter is a gun is illegally sold by the Sam Crow organization to another club and is used by a child in a school shooting a few years later. So this becomes a huge problem for the club, because if they are discovered or their weapon is discovered, they could immediately be put into jail. So the scene in season 6 begins with a pre-adolescent boy seen periodically throughout the episode who approaches a school and pulls out a machine pistol from his backpack, and he loads the weapon and enters the school, and shortly thereafter screams and gunfire are heard. Sam Crow has been targeted as a culprit in the shooting as the club supplied the weapon. So the boy took the weapon from his stepfather, who is involved in a CD game himself, and bought the weapons from another gang who had bought them from Sam Crow. And the local police and FBI begin investigation into the club and come dangerously close to uncovering some deadly information about Sam Crow, which proves to be almost devastating to the club. So here's a picture from the particular episode. I'm so sorry it's so dark, but there's a picture of the boy who looks into his notebook. There's a bunch of extremely demonic and satanic things in his notebook. Looks into his notebook, loads the gun, and then walks into class. So as you can probably tell, there's a YouTube link right there. I do have the full scene of it in my PowerPoint slide. If you want to see the full thing, you can check that out through there. So what happened as a direct result of Crisis 2? I'm here with Jax Teller, the president of the Sons of Anarchy Motorcycle Club. I'm here to talk about the crisis that recently occurred. As a direct result of you and your club's negligence, a school shooting occurred. What effect did this shooting have on your club's activities?
Well, the aftermath created a huge crisis for the club. When we found out the weapon used in the shooting came from us, we were in shock. We had to lay low for a while to make sure the public didn't find out about anything. I guess we didn't think that trying to hide the crisis would actually make it worse.
And what happened after the school shooting occurred?
The DA leaked a story to the press who possible suppliers of the guns in the school shooting were, and the story ended up on the front page of the town's paper. Nero, still in jail, decided to give himself up as the source of the gun rather than blame our crew.
Thank you for your time, Jax. It looks like next time your club will be more properly handled for a crisis of this nature. So moving on, we're going to talk about crisis number 3 that's crucial to the plot of Sons of Anarchy, and that is when Jax mistakenly takes revenge on the wrong people who he believes killed his wife. So Gemma kills Tara for trying to leave Charming and Jax with her 2 boys, and Gemma lies and says it was the Chinese who killed her. So Jax spends a significant part of the final season 7 taking revenge on anyone and everyone who is associated with those people. And he eventually finds out that Gemma was lying and was the real one to kill his wife. And Jax ends up taking so many innocent lives in his vengeance and cannot live with himself anymore. Spoiler alert, he kills himself in the finale. So these images are all from various scenes in Season 7, which is the finale season of the Sons of Anarchy TV series. So we can see on the top left, we have Jax and his crew dealing with a man named August Marks, who is in a rival gang. The top right, we can see Jax and his crew taking down another villain. And finally at the bottom, Jax conversing with a fellow inmate. So all of these are scenes in which Jax was taking out vengeance for the death of his wife. So finally we end with, as a direct result of crisis number 3, Jax and his club go about taking control of the gun trade and seek to harm anyone who hurts Tara. And Gemma created a more serious issue when she lied to the club about Tara's death. She leaves Charming immediately and runs away out of state in order to get away from Jax because she knows that he is hunting her. And subsequently, Jax finds out the truth and ends up killing his mother in vengeance. Jax took so many innocent lives in error and ultimately cannot live with himself anymore, so he kills himself in the finale. Thank you very much for watching my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.